Welcome back, everyone. This is MandoAllDay, back to the video. And in this video, I'll be doing an overview of Poison Ivy, the Virtuous Cycle hardcover, volume 1. I'll be talking about a little bit of story, the art, and of course, if it's worth your purchase or not. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button to not support channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. So let's take a look at front of the belt jacket, the spine, the back. I'll show you a full spread image of the art. Right, front of the book, the spine, the back, and I'll show you a full spread image of the art. All right, now let's take a look at what's inside. So what is this book about? So the book is about Poison Ivy having a new purpose in life after being brought back to life. Now this is after the Fear State storyline or event, however you want to call it. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will talk about that in a bit in terms of prior knowledge, but again, I just want to make it clear, this is post-Fear State, so keep that in mind. So like I mentioned, she's brought back to life after being revived, and she loses her godlike powers. And now, Poison Ivy has a new purpose in life, in which is to heal the world by eradicating all humankind. So she leaves Gotham to pursue her purpose, and she starts questioning herself a little bit throughout this whole journey. And that is the main gist of the main story. I say main story because there is a subplot. And the subplot is essentially there's a person or a creature who's after Poison Ivy. And now Poison Ivy has to stop this thing, I guess you can say. Meanwhile, also pursuing her purpose in life. And that is like the main concepts of this whole story. Or book, I should say. And again, this is volume 1, so kind of get an idea how it's going to end. With that said, I gotta say, I really like this story. What I like about the story, though, is a lot of it is inner dialogue. It reminds me of the Joker story by James Tynion, to where that book or story is about Commissioner Gordon going after Joker, but a lot of it is inner dialogue. So you really get a good understanding how James Gordon really thinks, how he sees certain things. And in this story, it's a lot of inner dialogue. And I like that about this book. That it's a lot of it because you get a good understanding how she sees things, how she sees men, women, their plants, humankind, just everything, and you get a better understanding of Poison Ivy, and I really, really like that, and that's what actually hooked me in even more. There's one part of the story where I thought it was really, really clever, is she ends up getting a job somewhere. I won't say where or what, because I'll spoil it, but she ends up getting a job, and her purpose in life is to spread her, guess you could say, plants. I don't want to say too much, I'll give it away, but she decides to get this job for a specific reason, and they don't really say what job it is until she starts working there. And leading up to it, I was like, why would Poison Ivy want to get this up? Doesn't make any sense, because she's really, really smart. But in the context of the story and her purpose in life, it's like, okay, that is pretty darn clever. So kudos to you, whoever wrote this and thought of that idea, because I actually couldn't even think about that until it happened. I'm like, you know what? This is really, really smart. But anyway, so like I was saying, a lot of it is inner dialogue. It's her questioning herself. And throughout this whole journey of her purpose, she starts to really notice and wonder, are humankind really, really this evil? Are every human being this evil? Because she meets certain people throughout the way, and I'm not going to say who or what, because I don't want to spoil it, but I gotta say, I really like that aspect of it, because she starts doubting herself a little bit. She starts questioning herself. Maybe she's wrong. Maybe not all humans are evil. And I like that about it, because she's really, really thinking herself. She's challenging herself in a way. And that's what I like about the story. And that's what hooked me in, is the whole inner dialogue, or her character arc and character development. And so to me, that's like my favorite part of this whole entire book. Now again, this is volume 1. I won't say too much because I'll spoil it, but that's that. Now, the paper quality is matte, which is a complete unfortunate, because the art is fantastic. The art is trippy, very colorful and bright, and to me, having this matte paper is a complete disservice to the art. The paper quality, like I said, is matte, but the art, it is beautiful. It is top-notch. Just look at all those colors. If this book came out in Absolute, I would definitely buy it, because I feel like with that paper and the Absolute editions, it would pop and look even much, much better. And even having here in the matte paper, it looks good as is. I can only imagine how it's going to look like with that Absolute quality paper. In terms of the pacing, it is about average to above average. I would say majority of the time is above average. There are some moments here and there where it is average, but for the most part, it's going to be above average. Now, prior knowledge, do you need to have prior knowledge? I would recommend so reading the Fear State like story because they do reference that a lot. Especially, like I said, she loses her godlike powers. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, or Poison Ivy being essentially like a god per se, then you might be a little bit lost because there are some references to what happens to Fear State and to her past in terms of having all these abilities and connected to the green. So is it required? No. Is it recommended? Yes. Hope that makes sense. Because I read Fear State a while back, and so I was a bit lost in certain parts. I'm like, wait a minute, did this really happen? So you'll be perfectly fine if you've not read it, but just be aware because they're going to reference it. So if you don't know certain parts of what happens, then you might be a little lost, but overall you should be fine. But again, I would recommend it, but it's not required. So overall though, what do I think about this book? Personally, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. The art is fantastic. The pacing, it's good. The character development of Poison Ivy is really, really good. And the story itself, I really want to see the outcome. I want to see where this is going to lead to. But more importantly, is Poison Ivy going to accomplish her goal, which is eradicating all humankind? And that's where I'm really interested in. I want to see, is she going to change or is she going to continue the same route that she's going right now? So like I said, the Poison Ivy, Volume 1, The Virtuous Cycle, gets a thumbs up for me. Let me know what you guys think. Have you read this book? Do you plan on reading this book? Leave it in the comment section below. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button to notify my channel, but to keep up to date on videos like this. Then goes an overview of Poison Ivy, The Virtuous Cycle, hardcover, Volume 1, and on to the next one.